Kenosha at least remains calm tonight, a day after President Trump's visit and a day before Democratic nominee Joe Biden arrives. Here's a couple who turned out for the president yesterday.
People from Kenosha are good people. They're nice people. They're hardworking people. They just want to make a living and, and have a decent life. You don't want to have to worry if you go to the park or what you see in Portland or Seattle.
What happened to Mr. Blake had nothing to do with his color of his skin. It may have been police brutality, but the police officer didn't shoot him because he was black. He shot him because he didn't obey the police orders.
Let's debate how the candidates are handling the latest developments in America's summer of unrest with Fox News contributors Leslie Marshall and Deneen Borelli. Welcome.
Hello, Mike. Hi, Mike. Good to see you.
Joe Biden is off to Kenosha tomorrow after President Trump was just there yesterday, so we will get a contrast of their styles. Deneen, what are your expectations?
Well, I would expect more of the same from Joe Biden. I mean, listen, he's finally out of his basement, and he's only commenting on the violence and damage and destruction that's going on in cities across our country, which has been taking place for months in some situations. He is only commenting because it's affecting him in the polls, because his only words were peaceful protests. They see that's not working for his campaign. So I find it very disgusting that Biden is just now commenting where we have had loss of life, damage and destruction that has taken place. And he's only making these comments because he's concerned about winning an election. He's not concerned about law and order or safety and security of Americans.
The Trump campaign communications director Tim Murtaugh has been going after Biden. Quote, he failed to condemn Antifa. He failed to condemn people who called the police a cancer, or people on his campaign staff who called them pigs. He failed to apologize for his campaign staff donating to a fund which bailed out violent criminals out of jail in Minneapolis. He failed to urge Democrat governors to call in the National Guard. He failed to urge Democrat mayors to allow the federal government to help. In short, he failed. Leslie, how do you respond?
Not at all. If we're going to say that you need somebody to call somebody out, when President Trump had the opportunity with Charlottesville, he basically said there were good guys on both sides. Look, Joe Biden said, and I'm going to quote so that I don't misquote here, the deadly violence we saw overnight in Portland is unacceptable. I condemn this violence unequivocally. I condemn violence of every kind by anyone, whether on the left or the right, and I challenge Donald Trump to do the same. And I echo those sentiments. And that's what I'm hearing from many in my party, and quite frankly, with people who aren't decided or even Republicans. We're tired of the divisiveness. And quite frankly, with all due respect to Deneen, Fox News had a poll today that shows Joe Biden up in every single battleground state, whether it's within the margin of error or 9 points in some cases. So I don't feel at all that Joe Biden is reacting to polls. That's actually not Joe Biden's way. If you look at him historically as a politician, and even in this campaign, the former vice president, I believe, is saying, look, this is how I feel. I want to be very clear because other people are saying that he feels the contrary to that. And I think he wanted to be just very clear, this spot on, this is how I feel. This comes from me, Joe Biden.
Tonight, President Trump's ordering the federal government to begin the process of defunding cities, including New York City. New York Democrat Congressman Max Rose tweeting tonight, with this order, President Trump is joining Mayor de Blasio in defunding the police. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I will not sit back if you're putting my constituents at risk by playing politics. Deneen, your thoughts on this funding fight?
The president has been trying to get the attention of these Democrat mayors in these Democrat-run cities for weeks and for months because of the ongoing damage and destruction that is taking place right before our eyes. The innocent citizens in these cities and in these states, they are the ones who are the victims here. The president wants law and order. He has offered to have the federal law enforcement come into these areas to help these communities. And these Democrats are not playing along with what they need to do. The government's basic role is to protect person and property. And these Democrats are not doing it. They're leaving their constituents out to dry.
Let me give Leslie a chance to respond.
Look, when you say playing politics, the president is playing politics. I don't care if they say Democrat or Republican. You know, is it any wonder that the cities or the states that he punishes are blue? That they have Democratic leaders, whether mayors of the cities or governors of the states. Look, this hurts the people. If you pull funding, for whatever reason, you should never use citizens and voters, whether Democrats from another party or even Republicans in your own, as political pawns. That's what the president's done here. And quite frankly, just from a political perspective, that's not going to help him at all. We've seen it historically in the past blow up in either a Democrat or Republican's face when they don't take care of the people. To Deneen's point, when you say take care of the people, well, the funding largely helps these cities and states do that.
We have to leave it there. Leslie, Deneen, thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.